So I want to share something with you that most videographers just don't quite understand. Your career is not a talent show. But before we continue, right here, this is your opportunity to bounce. Because at this moment, you only feel like you ought to be more successful. You don't know that for sure. And you could potentially coast along by yourself just fine. Maybe. Because, my friend, you have a problem. And it ain't a lack of jobs. That's just a symptom of the problem. And I need you to be ready for the diagnosis. If you keep watching, you agree to take a hard look at yourself, your situation, and give yourself the permission to grow past it. Hey filmmakers, I'm Bryce McNabb. I'm an Emmy Award-winning videographer and a content strategist. This channel is to help you create award-winning work and build rewarding careers. I get it, all right? I get the struggle. I understand because I was there, because I had a talent show mindset. And what a talent show mindset is it's this belief that my work speaks for itself. If you've ever said that and believed it, then you have a talent show mindset. Let me just tell you, though, it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's drilled into us by our culture. I mean, it starts in the school system, but then it's always perpetuated in the media, in our television shows, and the movies. This idea that I'll get so good at my talent, I'll get so good at my craft, that someone on some lucky day will discover me, that I will be rewarded for my skill set. And that is when I become successful. Let me tell you, 3 Emmys, no one cares. It didn't suddenly open the floodgate and everybody's banging down my door looking for my services because I'm someone special. That didn't happen because life doesn't work that way. There's the rare, very rare occasions when people do get discovered, but it's very rare. I became a working artist because I didn't want to have to do the boring business stuff. All I wanted to do was be creative. As long as I'm doing that, as long as I'm getting super good at my craft, then I'll be okay. And no one wants to be a salesman. Salesmen are greasy and gross. They're pushy. They make you feel uncomfortable. They make you feel like you want to go take a shower after you talk to them, right? Wrong. That's not selling. That's not selling. That's being a jerk, okay? Selling is actually helping people. When you're selling something to somebody, you're solving a problem for them. You're bringing a solution to them. You're fulfilling a need. That's what real selling is. Here's an example. Have you ever seen a movie that was just like the best film you had ever seen, and you got super stoked about it, and you went immediately to your friend, and you asked them if they had seen the movie, and if they hadn't, you did your best to communicate to them how awesome that film was. You wanted them in that moment to experience that emotion that you felt when you saw that film, and you wanted them to go see it. And then you gave them the strongest recommendation you possibly could. If you've done that for a film, TV show, book, food, whatever, congratulations, you're a salesman. Yes, there are pushy salespeople out there, but that's not us. We're making videos. Videos are freaking awesome. They're super fun because part of our culture is this Hollywood-driven culture, so everyone wants to join in the merrymaking of movie making. In those situations when we're actually selling, we're not being this greasy person. And let me just give you an example of a time when I was selling by default, because I'm convinced that right now you are already selling by default. You're naturally selling. That's how you're actually able to get jobs in the first place. You just might be like I was about 5 years ago when I didn't understand that I was selling. I went out and I grabbed lunch with my friend. Really like this guy. He is an entrepreneur, started a few businesses. So I'm asking him all about that, super interested. And then he asks me about making videos, which obviously I'm very passionate about and like to talk about. So I just like, yeah, it's awesome. This, that. I left that lunch with a multi-video deal with him. And that is like not what I even thought was happening. Like I didn't go in there being like, oh, I've gotta sell this guy some videos. It just happened that was the result of that conversation. And it was months later that he had actually mentioned to me like, yeah, man, you really sold me very well on this project. And my immediate reaction was I was offended that he told me that I sold him, but more so, I was confused. I didn't understand what he meant. What do you mean I was selling? That didn't make sense to me because I was still locked in the talent show mindset. Well, it's a problem for a couple reasons. First off, you're waiting. You're stuck in a waiting holding period. So rather than being proactive and setting up jobs for yourself, you're sitting around hoping that jobs will come to you. You know, the book of Proverbs says, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. You might be okay playing the waiting game. That might work out fine for you. You've probably developed a good network. People know about you. You might be able to do okay. People have done it. So I'm not saying that it does not happen, right? But what's a result of that is you get these high cash flow months, low cash flow months, high cash flow months, and then dry spells where there's nothing. You're hoping that whatever you just worked on will last you because you haven't lined up other jobs for yourself. You haven't been diligent. You've been approaching this with a slack hand. Now, I don't want to be too ridiculous because this could also be a result of the industry that you're working in. But if you're clever about lining up your projects, you can defeat those seasonal shifts. And there's always going to be seasonal shifts, but it shouldn't be so extreme. You have zero negotiation power. You have forfeited your worth to the judge who's come along and judged you because your whole basis for getting jobs is based on the value someone else sets on you, right? Because it's a talent show mindset. You're up there dancing your heart out, and they, in the judge seat, they're determining whether you win or lose or what trophy you get. Are you going to get bronze, silver, or gold, right? What type of deal are they going to offer you? Let's go back to that conversation that I had with my friend. So he asked me how much all this would cost. And I had no idea. I didn't know what an appropriate number was because I had not done the work to figure that out. And at that moment, I defaulted the negotiation power and the judgment of my worth, and I gave it to him because he took that opportunity to throw out a number, to which I was super excited because the number sounded great. It sounded like a great value, so I eagerly accepted it. It wasn't until midway through that project that now I'm pissed because I'm realizing I'm doing a lot of work and that number is starting to look less valuable. Now I'm starting to believe that I actually am getting underpaid and I'm becoming disgruntled. I got upset. I got upset at him because how dare he undervalue me, right? But it was my fault. It was totally my fault because I gave him the power to set my value. And in that moment, I agreed to the value that he set because I had no concept of what my value was. I didn't understand that. And when you have a talent show mindset, you are forfeiting your value and you're forfeiting the terms of your agreements, of your working agreements to the judge that is there assessing your worth. Ultimately, that's the biggest problem. So you've got the feast and famine, and you're not determining your worth. So we've got to get you out of that and into a position where instead of feast and famine like this, you're coasting along like this. You have consistent cash flow that's coming in. And instead of someone else determining your worth, you're going to be able to determine your worth. And you're going to be able to determine your worth by understanding the problem that they have. Because if you understand the problem that they have, you know why they need you. You know why they need your video. And if you know why they need it, you have a sense of how valuable it is to them, right? And if you understand how valuable your video is to them, you understand your value. You have now a say in how much your videos are, how much your time is worth. And you now have regained negotiation power. So I urge you to stick with me throughout the rest of this series. We're going to identify the needs that our clients have by creating customer avatars for them. We're also going to look at selling as a process and evaluate it in a step-by-step sequence of events. And we're going to look at a marketing funnel, right? And we're going to see how you can translate sales into the digital space so that way you can automate your lead generation. Thank you so much for your attention. If you know someone who could really benefit from this information, definitely share it with them. I'm serious. I'm counting on you to help me grow this channel so that way I can help you along your journey. And definitely subscribe so that way you can keep up with the rest of the installments in this series. All right, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.